and non-metal. Have you seen wooden bells in temple? Naturally not. Why do we not have wooden bells in temple? Wooden bells, if you have wooden bells, they will not produce any sound. So why do you have metal bells only? Because metal bells, when you hit, they produce a ringing sound. And this is clear that the things made up of metals produce a ringing sound when you hit them hard. If you have two boxes, one is made up of wood and the other is made up of metal, and you hit them, or if you don't even hit them, how will you know that which one is metal and which one is non-metal if they both have been painted with the same color? So we differentiate with the help of hitting, and we hit them, and we know that the metal box will produce a metal sound, which is ringing sound, and a non-metal or a wood box will produce a non-metallic sound. So metals produce ringing sound and they are called sonorous, and other materials, they do not produce ringing sound, so they are non-sonorous. After performing the above activities, so we have discussed some properties which were hardness, lustrous, malleable, ductile, sonorous, and good conductors of heat and electricity. We can say that metals are good conductors and non-metals are bad conductors. So what is the difference between metal and non-metal based on this property? The materials which possess these properties are called metals. The substances which possess these properties, they are called metals. And the substances which do not possess these properties, they are called non-metals. So what is the difference? So let's see what is the difference in the form of a table. So when you will learn it, it will be easy to remember if you make a table and write the property in a table form. So you will write, in the first column you will write metal, and in the second column you will write non-metal, and then you will remember all the properties. The first property of metal and non-metal which differentiates them is that the first property is hardness. Metals are hard, and what about non-metals? They are not hard. Simple. What is the other difference between the two? First is hardness, then we read that metals are malleable. Malleable means they can be beaten into sheet, and non-metals, they are not malleable, so they can be beaten into sheet. What is malleable? What is ductility? There is a video link given below. You can understand from there what is the difference between malleability meaning, and next property is ductility. What is ductility? That also is given in the video, whose link you can see below. They can be beaten into wires. Ductile means they can be changed into wires. So metals have got first property is hardness, they are malleable and they are ductile, whereas non-metals are not. Then next important property is metals are sonorous. Sonorous means they produce a sound, ringing sound, and they are not. So it is simple. You have to actually remember metals, and the difference is clear that they are not. Then heat. They are heat conductors. So metals are heat conductors. They conduct heat, and they are not. And the next property is electricity. Metals are electric conductors. Electric conductors means they allow electricity to pass through them. So these are some properties of metal which differentiate them from a non-metal. So actually you have to remember these properties, and then the non-metal property will become easy. So you can write this in your notebooks and remember what is the physical property difference between the two. You can take a screenshot and remember it. This is the simple difference between metals and non-metals. They are hard, malleable and ductile. What is the meaning? That link is there in the video below. You can check. Sonorous and heat conductors and electric conductors. This we discussed in the previous session. So this is the basic difference in physical property of metal and non-metal. Now what are the example of metals? Example of metals are copper and aluminium. These are two you can write. Here you can write wood, or you can write carbon, you can write sulfur. They are examples. Chemical property, you can write wood here also, but when you have to differentiate in science, you should differentiate with proper chemical names. So this is the physical property difference, and differentiate metal. Whenever you have to differentiate physical property or chemical property, you must differentiate with examples. But there are some exceptions also. We have read that all metals are hard and all non-metals are not hard. But if you study diamond, diamond is made up of carbon, and carbon is a non-metal. So diamond is the hardest substance. That is exception. These are exceptions. All non-metals are soft except carbon, which is present in the diamond form. All metals are malleable and all non-metals are non-malleable. All metals are ductile, all metals or non-metals are not ductile. Then all metals are sonorous and non-metals are not sonorous. Heat conductors, all non-metals are non-conductors. Electric conductors, not conductors. And carbon is a non-metal, but graphite is a substance which is present in the batteries, in the cells which you use, which shows that it conducts electricity. So that is an exception. Otherwise all non-metals are like this. Then another property of metal is that all metals are hard and non-metals are we have read, but most of the metals are found in either a solid state or are found in the solid state, but non-metals are mostly found in the liquid and that state. So this thing is in the higher class. You will study it in 9th and 10th class based on the chemical properties. So in this session we have discussed the difference in physical properties of metal and non-metal. In the next class we will see the chemical properties of metal and non-metal. So stay connected and press the notification, and you can subscribe if you want. So see you in the next class.